A young male driver rescued a beautiful CEO from a vehicular accident on a roadway. Days later, love blossomed between them. The night was pitch black, illuminated only by the faint glow of Alex's truck headlights piercing through the torrential rain. The road twisted and turned like a serpent navigating the mountains, with each sharp curve presenting a challenge of skill and caution. Alex gripped the steering wheel firmly, his eyes straining to penetrate the relentless downpour on the windshield. Just a few more miles, he muttered to himself, glancing at the GPS affixed to his dashboard. His occupation as a nighttime delivery driver lacked glamour, yet it sufficed to cover his expenses, and he took pride in consistently completing his tasks, regardless of the conditions, as he navigated another curve. Bend's headlights illuminated a glimmer of silver ahead, a luxury automobile careening wildly into the tempest. Alex furrowed his brow, contemplating the urgency of the situation as the car swerved slightly, its taillights illuminating like cautionary signals, indicating a perilous decision. Alex muttered that the road was treacherous due to the rain, and the steep descent to the valley below provided no opportunities for redemption. He honked his horn twice in an attempt to signal the driver to decelerate, but the sedan accelerated, its tires perilously close to the edge of the tiny road. Alex maintained his distance, his instincts heightened. The sedan's erratic maneuvers induced anxiety in him. He had witnessed numerous accidents on such roads, and the storm exacerbated his apprehension. Then, as the sedan neared a sharp curve, its tires lost traction, causing the car to skid sideways and spin uncontrollably. Alex observed in horror as the vehicle veered off the road, crashing through the guardrail. With a resounding crunch of metal, the sedan plummeted over the edge, cascading down the steep embankment. Frustrated, Alex slammed on the brakes, his truck skidding slightly before coming to a stop. He activated his hazard lights, engaged the parking brake, and leapt into the storm. The relentless rain drenched him within seconds as he descended the treacherous slope, the faint glow of the sedan's headlights serving as his sole guide. The vehicle lay crumpled halfway down the embankment, its front end submerged in the mud. Alex shouted, his voice barely discernible over the wind, "Can you hear me?" There was no reply. Alex's heart pounded as he reached the car, peering through the shattered driver's side window. Inside, a woman sat slumped over the steering wheel, her face pale and streaked with blood from a cut on her forehead. "Hey," Alex shouted, trying to rouse her. He tugged at the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. The frame was warped from the impact. "Hang on," he said, more to himself than to her. He grabbed a wrench from his pocket and smashed the remaining glass, carefully reaching in to unlock the door from the inside. The door creaked open and Alex leaned in, checking for a pulse. It was faint, but steady or alive. He murmured, relief washing over him. Suddenly, the acrid smell of smoke reached his nose. He turned his head to see thin wisps rising from the crumpled hood. His stomach clenched. "No time to waste," he muttered. Alex unfastened the woman's seat belt, lifting her carefully out of the car. She stirred slightly, her eyelids fluttering, but she didn't fully wake. As he carried her up the muddy slope, he could hear the crackling of fire behind him. The sedan burst into flames just as he reached the top of the embankment, the heat searing his back. Alex didn't look back, focusing instead on getting the woman to safety. He laid her gently on the passenger seat of his truck, grabbing a first aid kit from the glove compartment. As he dabbed at the cut on her forehead, her eyes flickered open where she murmured, her voice weak and disoriented, "You're okay." Alex gently informed her that she had been in an accident, but that she was now safe. She looked up at him, blinking. Her brow furrowed as she attempted to concentrate. "My car is gone," Alex stated succinctly. "You're fortunate to be alive." She gazed at him, her uncertainty transforming into terror. I couldn't stop the brakes." Alex acknowledged the situation, deducing that something had likely gone awry. "However, it is inconsequential at this point, as your escape is the paramount concern." The woman attempted to sit up, but Alex placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Take it easy. You've endured a great deal." For a minute, she merely gazed at him, her breathing irregular. "Who are you?" she inquired. "Alex," he said with a faint smile. A man found himself in an opportune situation. The woman remained unresponsive, her head tilting back against the seat as fatigue enveloped her. Alex observed her momentarily before exhaling deeply. "Let us transport you to safety," he stated gently, taking his place in the driver's seat and departing from the smoldering debris. The tempest continued to rage outside, and Alex could not dispel the notion that the night was far from concluded. The rain persisted in its deluge as he navigated the serpentine road, his gaze searching for any indication of assistance beside him. Olivia sat reclined in the passenger seat, her head resting against the window. Although conscious, her motions were languid, and her complexion was pallid. "How are you faring?" Alex inquired, his voice steady despite the turmoil outside. Olivia opened her eyes, wincing slightly. "I've been better," she murmured. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe." "Alex said that you require rest, and I must determine how to obtain assistance." Olivia moved uneasily, her customary confidence supplanted by vulnerability. "I do not require rest," she asserted, while her tone betrayed uncertainty. "I must return home, not in this weather." "You cannot," Alex replied resolutely. "You are injured, and these roads are perilous enough without attempting to navigate through a storm." Olivia remained silent, too fatigued to engage in a dispute. After traversing another mile, Alex discerned the silhouette of a structure through the rain, a small, dilapidated roadside rest stop, neglected and eroded by time. "This will suffice," he remarked, maneuvering the truck into the overgrown parking area. He exited the vehicle, confronting the deluge, and approached Olivia's side, opening her door. "Take my hand," he urged. "Let us get you inside." Olivia stopped, contemplating his hand as if weighing the decision to accept his assistance. Nevertheless, the excruciating agony in her leg and the frigid rain rendered her option inevitable. She extended her hand, and Alex assisted her descent, bearing her weight as they approached the building. The rest stop resembled a mere vestige of its former glory, characterized by shattered windows, flaking paint, and an atmosphere of neglect. Within, the air was damp and musty, yet preferable to the outdoors. "Sit here," Alex directed Olivia to a bench against the wall, where she sat cautiously, her shoulders drooping. He retrieved a flashlight from his truck and commenced examining the room. After a brief interval, he returned with a dusty blanket and a broken stool, which he utilized to elevate her injured leg. "This isn't precisely the Ritz," he remarked. Olivia remarked in a harsh tone, despite her exhaustion, while Alex smirked and crouched beside her to open a small first aid box. "Indeed, I dropped my reservation book at the crash site," he remarked dryly. Olivia cast him a glance, but remained silent as he delicately tended to the laceration on her forehead, remarking that she was fortunate it was not more severe. Alex remarked, his voice softening, that the crash could have been fatal. Olivia's attention briefly shifted to his face, and for an instant, she appeared almost appreciative. However, the weakness swiftly dissipated, supplanted by her customary guarded demeanor. "Are you perpetually this prepared?" she inquired, gesturing over the first aid bag. "It's part of the job," he replied. Alex responded, "You never know what you might encounter on the road." He meticulously secured a bandage over her head and remarked, "That should suffice for now." As the hours passed, the storm exhibited no indications of abating. Alex successfully ignited a tiny fire in the corner of the room utilizing scraps of wood and an old metal can. The flickering flames projected elongated shadows on the walls, imparting a little warmth to the otherwise barren environment. Olivia positioned herself nearer to the fire, her arms encircling her body as she gazed into the flames. "I have never encountered a situation like this before," she said softly. "What, being stranded in the middle of nowhere?" Alex inquired, casting a glance at her. "No," Olivia replied, "being helpless." Alex cocked an eyebrow. "You do not appear to be the helpless type," Olivia stated swiftly, almost in defense. "At least, I did not perceive myself as such, but tonight," she paused, shaking her head. "It is not a sign of weakness to require assistance." After a pause, Alex remarked, "It's human." Olivia responded with a subdued, bitter laugh. "Not in my world. Weakness is exploited. People recognize it and use it against you." Alex reclined against the wall, observing her. It sounds like a harsh world. It is, Olivia conceded, but it's the price one pays for. Success, Alex remarked with a pleasant tone. You are fortunate to have collided with my world this evening. Here, the sole priority is navigating through the tempest. Olivia regarded him, her expression softening despite her intentions. You are insufferably pragmatic. You're aware that this is inherent to the situation. Alex responded with a smile as the fire flared between them, establishing an uneasy peace. Despite her anxiety, Olivia saw Alex's composed manner and ingenuity. He seemed unfazed by the situation, and his confidence was unexpectedly encouraging. Alex perceived a different facet of Olivia, a woman who, beneath her refined facade, appeared weary from her daily struggles. The rain lashed against the roof, yet for the first time since the accident, the tension between them began to dissipate. The morning following the storm was unsettlingly tranquil. The rain had ceased, but the aftermath was apparent, with shattered branches strewn across the ground. The air was saturated with humidity, and the previously clear mountain road was now concealed by debris. Alex stood outside the rest stop, assessing the damage with a somber expression. What's the plan? Olivia inquired, stepping out cautiously. Her leg remained tender, yet she was determined not to be impeded. Alex turned to her, his demeanor grave. We must ascertain whether the road is sufficiently clear to return to the main highway. If it is obstructed, we will be stranded until someone comes to find us. Olivia frowned. Crossing her arms is not a viable option. I have individuals awaiting my presence. We must proceed. There are meetings to attend. Although Alex remarked that his tone was terse, proceeding without awareness of what lies ahead is unwise. Allow me to inspect the path first. They traversed together in quiet, with Alex guiding the way with a torch and Olivia limping somewhat. Upon rounding the bend, they halted abruptly. The road was entirely impassable due to a substantial landslide that had deposited boulders, mud, and trees over the path, forming a barrier that extended as far as the eye could see. Olivia gazed in astonishment. You must be joking. Nope, came the reply. Alex stated somberly that this situation is unlikely to progress in the near future. Olivia confronted him, her irritation evident. How did you not notice this last night? We could have chosen an alternative route. Alex raised an eyebrow, evidently displeased. In case you forgot, I was occupied with saving your life. That's not the point, Olivia spat. You should have what? Alex interjected, his voice cutting her off. Rising effortlessly removed a landslide while transporting you up a hill in torrential rain. Acknowledge it, Olivia. You would not be here without my assistance. Olivia began to object, but the veracity of his statements rendered her temporarily silent. Instead, she averted her gaze and ran a hand through her hair, muttering, "This cannot be occurring." Alex exhaled deeply while squeezing the bridge of his nose. I understand your frustration. However, attributing blame to me will not resolve the situation. We are in this predicament together, and our only means of escape is via collaboration. Olivia regarded him, her jaw clenched. What do you suggest we do? Sit here and wait? No, Al replied resolutely. We survive. We ensure we remain warm, nourished, and secure until assistance arrives. That is our sole course of action. The tension between them was palpable as they returned to the rest stop. Upon entering, Alex promptly began his tasks. Collecting materials, he discovered a corroded tin and some desiccated kindling, accumulating them into the... At the area where they had constructed a fire the previous night, Olivia said sharply, "What are you doing?" "Teaching you how to start a fire," was the response. Alex responded without raising his gaze, "I do not require knowledge on how to ignite a fire." Olivia, with her arms crossed, stated, "That is your responsibility." Alex maintained a steady gaze and inquired, "What occurs if something happens to me? What then?" Olivia recoiled at the inquiry but did not respond. Alex instructed her to sit down and observe. With reluctance, Olivia complied and joined him beside the fire pit. Alex elucidated each step as he worked, his patience remarkable given their prior disagreement. He demonstrated how to arrange the kindling, how to strike the flint to generate sparks, and how to gently blow on the flame to nurture it to life. When the fire ultimately ignited, Olivia felt a subtle surge of pride. Alex said with a little smile, "Not so difficult." Olivia rolled her eyes but refrained from disputing, responding, "Fine, what is next?" Over the subsequent hours, Alex instructed Olivia on fundamental survival techniques, demonstrating how to purify water utilizing an old shirt and charcoal. How can I identify edible plants in the vicinity and fortify their shelter against unpredictable weather? Although initially hesitant, Olivia began to pay attention, observing Alex's movements meticulously, imitating his techniques, and inquiring when she encountered confusion. "You are a quick learner," he remarked. Alex commented as she adeptly secured the cloth over the broken glass. "Don't sound so surprised," Olivia replied, a trace of humor in her voice. Alex grinned. "Fair enough, but I am impressed. You are tougher than you appear." Olivia paused, observing him. For the first time, she perceived no judgment in his eyes, only authentic respect. "Thank you," she stated. As night descended, the mood between them transformed. The initial tension yielded to an uneasy companionship, initially forged out of necessity, but evolving into something deeper as they sat by the fire. Olivia observed Alex as he studied, noting his quiet confidence and purposeful movements. Reluctantly, she acknowledged that she was becoming to appreciate and even trust him. Alex saw the transformation in Olivia. Her previously cutting demeanor appeared to be relaxing, revealing glimpses of the individual beneath her refined exterior. "We can navigate this," he asserted abruptly, interrupting the silence. Olivia regarded him, her expression inscrutable. "You sound quite certain," she remarked. "I am," Alex responded. "You simply need to trust me." For the first time, Olivia felt capable of doing so. The night was colder than the preceding one, the air sharp and tranquil. The fire crackled gently at the center of the rest stop, casting a warm, flickering glow throughout the room. Alex reclined against the wall, his hands loosely positioned on his knees as he gazed into the flames before him. Olivia sat with her arms encircling her knees, absorbed in contemplation. It had been a protracted day of trial and error, relying on their collective endeavors. The earlier tension had dissipated, supplanted by a serene companionship. The storm outside had subsided, leaving only the sound of wind whispering through the building's crevices. "You don't speak much, do you?" Olivia remarked abruptly, her voice shattering the silence. Alex gazed at her, a faint smile playing at the corner of his lips, unless he had something of significance to convey. Olivia exhaled a quiet giggle, remarking that it must be pleasant. "In my reality, silence is not permissible. Individuals anticipate responses, decisions, and continuous performance, which must be taxing." Alex spoke in a neutral yet inquisitive tone. Olivia placed her chin on her legs, her gaze far away. "It is, but it accompanies the role. Being a CEO entails more than merely managing a firm. It involves embodying its image. Every error, every vulnerability ultimately reflects upon you." Alex tilted his head, remarking that it seems isolating. Olivia hesitated before nodding. "Everyone around you either desires something from you or anticipates your failure. Genuine trust is elusive. If they are not attempting to exploit you, they are likely judging you." She met Alex's gaze. "That is why I maintain distance from others. It is simpler that way." Alex observed her for a minute, the flames mirrored in his unwavering gaze. "It seems like a harsh existence." "It's what I've had to endure to reach my current position," Olivia replied, her tone guarded. "You wouldn't comprehend." "Perhaps not," he conceded. Alex spoke in a calm tone. "However, I understand the pressure of having others rely on you and the fear of disappointing them." Olivia frowned, her curiosity piqued. "What do you mean?" Alex adjusted his position, resting his elbows on his knees. "I lost my parents when I was 16, he began, his voice steady yet imbued with a trace of melancholy. "After that, it was just my little sister and me. I had to mature rapidly, taking care of her and ensuring we had shelter. I commenced working various odd jobs and eventually entered the delivery driving sector. It was not glamorous, but it sufficed to cover our expenses. He paused, staring at Olivia before continuing. My sister has matured and is now pursuing her own path, but those years imparted significant lessons about responsibility and the importance of prioritizing others. That is why I engage in my work. It transcends mere employment and serves as a method to ensure our mutual well-being. Olivia's demeanor softened her typical acerbity, revealing authentic curiosity. It must have been challenging to raise a child while still being a child oneself, Alex conceded, but it shaped my identity and provided me with a purpose. One day, I aspire to establish my own enterprise, perhaps a delivery service, something stable that I can construct with my own hands. Olivia inclined her head forward, placing her chin on her palm. You do not merely discuss survival, you embody it. I hold that in high regard. Alex offered a tiny smile, expressing gratitude, but it appears you are also persevering in your own manner. Olivia emitted a gentle laugh. Most days, it seems I am merely maintaining everything with duct tape and optimism. Welcome to the club, Alex said with a smile as they briefly sat in amiable silence. Quell the fire crackling between them, Olivia regarded Alex, her expression contemplative. You're distinct, she remarked softly. Alex raised an eyebrow, noting the unusual nature of your lack of requests. Olivia stated that you are not attempting to impress me or exploit the circumstances. You are simply being yourself. Alex suppressed his smile. Affable yet unassuming, I am uncertain how to embody any other persona. Olivia experienced a pang of unfamiliarity, an appreciation for his authenticity. In her world, individuals consistently donned facades, perpetually seeking advantage. However, Alex was genuine, unpretentious, and kind in a manner that felt exceptional. Thank you, she said softly. For what? Alex inquired, tilting his head. For being here, for not allowing me to confront this alone. Alex's expression softened, and his voice lowered as he said, You need not thank me for that, Olivia. As night progressed, the distance between them appeared to diminish. For the first time, Olivia experienced a level of ease she had not felt in years, allowing herself to lower her defenses, even if momentarily. Alex, too, felt an attraction towards her. Beyond her acerbic facade lies a fragile yet resilient lady, shown by the flickering firelight. They sat together, two strangers discovering solace in one another's company for the first time. The severity of their situation seemed somewhat more tolerable. The sun was commencing its ascent, tinting the sky in gentle shades of orange and pink. Alex was outside tending to the fire that had become their lifeline. Olivia approached him, her footsteps unusually subdued and her demeanor contemplative. What is the plan for today? She inquired, encircling herself with her arms to ward off the morning chill. The same as yesterday, Alex replied, poking the fire with a stick. Maintain the fire, observe our surroundings, and ensure we have sufficient food and water. Olivia nodded, her expression remote. Do you think anyone is searching for us? Before Alex could respond, a tiny noise interrupted. Amid a faint, faraway murmur it intensified with each passing second. Do you perceive that? Olivia inquired, her tone laced with urgency. Alex sprang to his feet, his gaze surveying. The horizon revealed a helicopter, he said, his heart beating. Both individuals exited the shelter, their gaze riveted on a diminutive speck in the sky that was progressively enlarging. Indisputable a rescue aircraft, its blades slicing through the morning air, monitored the area. Quick, we need to signal them. Alex shouted as he seized the accumulated firewood and stacked it into the flames, intensifying the fire till it roared higher. Olivia followed him in tossing handfuls of moist leaves onto the fire to generate dense columns of smoke for the chopper. Drew nearer, the sound of its blades reverberating in their ears. Olivia gesticulated wildly, vociferously exclaiming, "We are down here." The helicopter flew straight overhead, but instead of halting, it continued on its track, moving progressively farther away. Olivia muttered, her voice shaking, "No, no, no." She dropped into the ground, resting her head on her hands as the sound of the chopper receded into the distance. They did not notice us. She stated, her voice faltering. We were so close, yet they did not perceive us. Alex crouched behind her, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. Hey, he said softly. It is not concluded. Olivia gazed at him, tears cascading down her visage. How can you assert that we have exerted all efforts and it remains insufficient? What is the purpose? The purpose is that we continue to exist. Alex stated, his tone resolute yet kind. We have come this far, and we shall continue until we are discovered. Surrender is not an option. Olivia sniffled, wiping her eyes with the back of her palm. I don't know if I can continue this, Alex. I feel as though I am depleted. You are more resilient than you realize. Alex stated, his voice resolute, you are not undertaking this alone. I am here, and we are in this together. For a few minutes, they only gazed at one another, the burden of their mutual experience palpable. Tension lingers in the atmosphere. Olivia nodded, inhaling unsteadily. Okay, she stated, what are our next steps? The remainder of the day was dedicated to replenishing their supplies and reinforcing their shelter. Alex assumed command, but Olivia astonished him with her eagerness to assist. Here, she said, presenting him with a bundle of sticks she had gathered. Is this sufficient for the fire? Perfect, he replied. Alex remarked, a hint of a smile on his face, you're mastering this. Olivia replied with a small smirk, I thought it was time I contributed. They reinforced the shelter walls with sturdy branches and added more layers of leaves for insulation. Olivia undertook the responsibility of organizing their food and water, even proposing methods to ration their resources more efficiently. By dusk, the shelter appeared more secure than ever, and the fire was burning consistently. Alex reclined against the wall, observing Olivia as she meticulously organized their scant supplies. You're replete with surprises, he stated in a casual tone. Olivia regarded him with a raised eyebrow. What is that intended to convey? It suggests that you do not meet my expectations. Alex remarked that upon our initial encounter, I perceived you as, shall we say, challenging. Olivia giggled softly, shaking her head. I cannot fault you for that assumption. I recognize I am not the most agreeable individual. However, you are not so difficult. With a grin, Alex remarked as Olivia settled beside him, the firelight illuminating her face with a warm glow. You've been patient with me, she stated quietly, more patient than I deserve. Hey, Alex replied softly, you're doing great. This isn't easy for anyone. Olivia gazed at him, her expression earnest. Can I tell you something? Of course, he responded. For the first time in a considerable duration, Alex remarked that Olivia spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. I experience a sense of security. Alex's chest constricted at her words. I'm glad, he stated simply, because as long as I am present, you will be. They remained silent for a period, with the crackling fire as the sole sound, despite the ambiguity of their circumstances. A tranquil sense of optimism emerged between them. For the first time, Olivia felt a sense of companionship, and for the first time, Alex recognized the depth of his feelings for the woman beside him. As dawn emerged with a subtle glimmer of hope, Alex rummaged through the remnants near the rest stop, seeking anything of value, a neglected can of food or a piece of equipment, when something metallic grazed his arm. He bent down and unearthed a broken, mud-caked radio from beneath a mound of wreckage. The shell was cracked, the cables frayed, yet it remained intact enough to ignite a glimmer of possibility. Olivia, Alex called, his voice imbued with desperation. Olivia emerged from the shelter, dusting dirt off her hands. What does it look like? Alex stated while raising the radio. It is antiquated, although it may still function. Olivia frowned skeptically, asking, do you believe you can rectify it? I must attempt to do so. Alex asserted that if this device still possessed any power, it could provide our means of escape. Back inside the shelter, Alex commenced utilizing the tools he had salvaged along with his own ingenuity. The labor was arduous, monotonous, and exasperating, yet he remained resolute in his perseverance. Olivia observed him with increasing apprehension. "You've been at this for hours," she remarked after a while. "Perhaps you should take a break." "I can't," Alex responded without raising his gaze. His hands remained steady, despite the fatigue apparent in his voice. "The sooner I resolve this, the sooner we can leave." Olivia paused, then placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You have accomplished so much already, Alex. You need not complete everything at once." Alex paused, looking up at her. "I know," he whispered softly, "but I promised you we would endure this, and I uphold my promises." For a minute, Olivia was at a loss for words. Instead, she retrieved a glass of water and offered it to him, saying softly, "At least drink this." Alex nodded and took a lengthy sip before returning to his tasks. Hours later, as the sun began to set below the horizon, a crackling noise permeated the room. Alex halted, fixated on the radio as static emitted softly from the speaker. "Is that Olivia?" she inquired, her voice imbued with hope. "It's working," Alex declared, a triumphant smile illuminating his face. He seized the microphone and pressed the button. "Mayday, Mayday, this is a distress signal. 2 individuals stranded near rest stop 46. Do you copy?" For a brief moment, only static persisted, then faintly a voice responded, "This is search and rescue." "We hear you. Hold your position. Help is on the way." Olivia laughed in relief, covering her lips as tears filled her eyes. Alex leaned back, his fatigue yielding to a surge of triumph. "We did it," he stated, his voice imbued with calm satisfaction. Olivia remarked, gazing at him with a smile that conveyed both thanks and respect. "You accomplished it." The sound of chopper blades permeated the air the following morning, slicing through the stillness like a beacon of hope. Alex and Olivia waited outside the shelter, gesturing as the aircraft descended. When the rescue team arrived, Olivia turned to Alex, her expression earnest. "Alex," she said, her voice laden with emotion, "you didn't merely save my life. You taught me how to trust again." "I am uncertain how to express my gratitude for that." Alex offered her a slight, crooked smile. "You needn't thank me," he replied, "just don't forget it." As the team assisted Olivia toward the helicopter, she halted and turned back to Alex. "Are you coming?" she inquired, her voice imbued with an unarticulated sentiment. Alex paused momentarily before accompanying her to the aircraft. Once on board, as the helicopter ascended, Olivia grasped Alex's hand. He glanced at their entwined fingers before meeting her gaze. "There is something I must express," he commenced, his voice unwavering despite the rapid beating of his heart. "I am uncertain when it occurred. Perhaps it was the initial evening by the fire, or perhaps it was witnessing your strength, but I have fallen for you." Olivia's eyes widened, her breath momentarily halted. She remained silent, her emotions spinning unexpectedly. Rather than answering quickly, she grasped his hand tightly. Her hold was tight and reassuring, her eyes filled with a blend of thanks and something more profound, fixed upon his. Alex smiled subtly, comprehending the significance of her gesture without the necessity of words as the helicopter ascended toward safety. Olivia gazed at the landscape beneath her, her hand still clasped in Alex's. The journey that commenced with a crash had bestowed upon her an unexpected connection, one that felt authentic, steadfast, and worthy of her affection. Resuming their individual lives seemed surreal, as the tumult of the mountain and the serene companionship of survival gave way to the unyielding tempo of daily routines. Olivia resumed her demanding role in the office, managing meetings and making decisions, while Alex returned to his consistent job as a driver. Despite their busyness, both were unable to dispel the memories of their shared experiences. For Olivia, her days felt vacuous. The luxury and power she once valued lost their significance. Frequently, she gazed out of her office window, her thoughts wandering to Alex, his composed strength, genuine nature, and steadfast faith in her, qualities she had not recognized she required until their paths crossed. Alex, too, could not forget. Every stretch of open road reminded him of her laughter around the fire and her candid revelations about her anxieties. He missed her, but he reassured himself that their worlds were too disparate for anything substantial to develop a week after their rescue. An elegant invitation arrived in Alex's mailbox. It was embossed with gold lettering including Olivia's name and the insignia of her company. You are cordially invited to the annual gala of Horizon Enterprises. Please join us as our honored guest. Attached was a handwritten note. Alex, I am indebted to you beyond expression. Please come. Olivia, the gala was an opulent event conducted in an expansive ballroom populated by the city's elite. Alex felt incongruous in his borrowed suit as he maneuvered through the crowd, yet he persevered, intent on locating Olivia. Upon finally spotting her, she stood on stage, commanding the audience's attention with her characteristic poise. Dressed in a sleek black gown, she exuded confidence, but there was an unfamiliar warmth in her expression that Alex had not previously observed. Ladies and gentlemen, Olivia spoke with a clear and robust voice, emphasizing that tonight is a celebration of accomplishment, perseverance, and the individuals that facilitate it all. She paused, her eyes traversing the room until it settled on Alex. However, there is one individual present this evening who warrants special acknowledgement. A person who reminded me of the essence of genuine living, the importance of trust, and the ability to discover strength in unforeseen circumstances. The room fell silent as Olivia proceeded. Alex Harper is not only the individual who salvaged my life, he is also the one who facilitated my self-discovery, for which I will eternally be grateful. Applause resonated across the room, however Alex scarcely perceived it. His gaze was fixed on Olivia, whose smile conveyed her thanks and admiration following the gala. Olivia discovered Alex on the balcony, contemplating the city lights. She approached discreetly, her heels softly clicking on the marble floor. "Hey," she said. Her voice was gentle. Alex turned his face, breaking into a smile. "Thank you for attending," Olivia stated, moving closer. "It means a great deal to me." "I wouldn't have missed it," Alex responded, although I was not anticipating the speech. Olivia chuckled gently, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "I meant every word." They remained silent for a time, the cool night air enveloping them, before Olivia spoke again, her tone subdued. "Alexander the First have been contemplating extensively regarding our relationship since our return." Alex's heart raced, yet he remained mute, allowing her to proceed. "I was so preoccupied with control and self-validation that I neglected to permit others to into my life." Olivia confessed that you provided her with a sense of security, alleviating the burden of alone. She gazed up at him, her eyes gentle. "I believe I developed feelings for you during the initial fire and the radio you repaired, and I am reluctant to part ways with you." Alex's breath caught as a gradual smile stretched across his face. "You're not the only one who has fallen," he remarked. "I have been contemplating how someone like myself may integrate into your realm, yet perhaps it is inconsequential and we can simply create our own." Olivia grasped his hand, intertwining her fingers with his. "I like the sound of that." A few weeks later, they found themselves on a tranquil country road. The windows of Alex's vintage pickup lowered as they traversed fields of golden wheat. Olivia reclined in her seat, her hair billowing in the breeze, a rare expression of genuine satisfaction adorning her face. "This is pleasant," she remarked, casting a smile at Alex. He concurred, his hand gently resting on hers as the sun descended below the horizon, illuminating the sky in vibrant hues of orange and pink. They both recognized that they had discovered something extraordinary. Together, they had transformed a near tragedy into a fresh beginning. A journey imbued with hope, love, and the assurance of a more luminous future awaited Alex and Olivia, who were poised to traverse the path ahead collaboratively. As we conclude this chapter of their remarkable odyssey, we are reminded that love and hope can emerge in the most unforeseen circumstances, even amidst the convoluted pathways of life's adversities. Their narrative exemplifies courage, trust, and the elegance of human connection. If this narrative resonated with you, do not allow it to conclude here. Subscribe to Stories Touch Your Soul for additional content. Narratives of resilience, love, and transformation that will inspire and uplift your spirit. click the subscribe button, activate notifications, and become part of our community of narrative enthusiasts. Disseminate this movie to individuals who require a reminder that even amidst the bleakest circumstances, we may discover illumination and companionship. Thank you for viewing, and we shall reconvene in the subsequent narrative. Until then, take care and maintain your faith in the potency of love and kindness.